Okay, this is the Chef Workstation open source triage for Monday, October 14th. And we'll get started. Hi. Okay, excuse me. I'm gonna kind of start from the bottom and work up with some of this stuff. So let's check out Chef Pie. So this is an issue that I have. That I'm gonna work on both of these.
I think we can close out the prototype one because while I still think we need to deliver that, we should do it in Go.
Do it again? Like
we would be in Go. Like we wouldn't write that. We wouldn't add more to the Chef CLI.
I am, yeah. Okay, cool. I will close this out.
But I still would really like to see a way for us to get people off of delivery local mode, because I think there's a huge build time value in that as well. If we can get rid of all that Rust work that we have to do, we can, because we have 3 different languages right now in the Chef Workstation. Well, no, we have 4 different languages in Chef Workstation. We get it back to 3. Be good.
Okay. I feel like we should at least file an issue in the Chef Workstation repo for add a chef test command that duplicates the delivery local functionality, but allows us to get rid of the delivery tool out of our toolkit.
Yep. I will stick this on my whiteboard as a to-do for myself to basically take the design proposal part of that and to file that back as an issue in the, I guess, just the Chef Workstation repo.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be in the CLI.
Yes. And I wonder if that's a thing where moving towards kind of the Git model, we would create a chef-test Golang command, and then in the base chef command, wrap chef space test to proxy into that.
Are we just going to end up with like 500 command repos?
Possible. Which is maybe something we should think about.
We might want to think about that.
Yeah, so Salim added, there's a Golang code base here inside of component, and maybe or maybe we make a repo for this main chef wrapper, like some kind of repo that will have all of our Golang tools in it.
Yeah, it seems like as we move to the world of not, someday not having that chef command line, that the consumer of that chef code, the only place you would ever get it would be the Chef Workstation, and maybe it just makes sense to stick it back in there.
Yep.
But we can figure that out later.
Yes.
We haven't created that mess quite yet, but we are.
I mean, we're about one command away from having to.
Yeah, at a certain point, you're going to be like, where does this issue go? And we're going to just be drowning in different repos.
Yep.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
What's up? That's a question for Salim now he's here. Is the eventual goal for us to have 10 chef whatever commands that all go to 10 chef whatever Go repos, or would we be more interested in taking all the various command code and sticking it back into the Chef Workstation repo where the Go exists there, the components Go stuff?
Right. I would like to talk also a little bit more of the why we decided to pull that off. It could be either or. I think we talked about the main Chef wrapper. Now the question is the new commands that we develop, if we want them to have in a separate repo or not. I think it's up, in my opinion, it's up to us to know if it's completely isolated and is reusable outside the world of Chef Workstation. And if it is, it makes sense to put it in a different repo.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's really the question, is like, we should get some concrete idea about where people consume this from. I know John has said that he wants it to not be in anything other than Workstation. The reason we extracted the Chef CLI out, though, was because unfortunately that code is kind of a library in all the worst ways, because it's used by like Chef Spec and stuff. So we needed the ability to ship some of that policy file stuff that gets used as a library.
Absolutely.
Without impacting Chef Workstation, DK, and all that. But in the Go world, like that whole constraint goes away. We can do whatever we want.
Well, yes, it does go away, sort of, because like think about, so for example, I'm going to talk a little bit of the new functionality I'm working on, like the Go Chef API implementation of Go for the Chef server. It does not have like the cookbook download, right? So imagine this scenario, like we're developing this new Chef Analyze, and if today we put it in Chef Analyze, right? Like, how do we make sure that the next thing that uses download cookbook is not going to depend on Chef Analyze, and so on and so forth. Those are the kind of things that I'm asking right now. Is like, is it okay to put it into this community API Go written Go thing, or should we start just creating some like also repos that is like shared libraries in Go at Chef and things like that?
So can't excuse me, with Go, with the new Go modules, I think they're called, you can point it at GitHub as a place to get it. And didn't they add a feature where you could specify like a directory as where to like get stuff? Like, I don't know, I'd need to go check this, I think. But if you could do something like add a folder or something, or maybe you just put more path arguments onto here. If we could specify that, I think my proposal would be also following the Git model. I think chef-analyze, chef-test, every chef-whatever could be, could all live in the same repo. I think we would use Go modules to organize those. And in that same repo, we could put kind of like library modules. So like cookbook downloads. If we decide we need a library for cookbook downloads, all of that could live in the same repo, use different Go modules to separate those out into functional components, and then decide if we want that repo to also live in Chef Workstation or be separate from it. And I think there's a good argument in my mind that if all those binaries we're generating are only ever meant to be used from the Chef Workstation repo, that it should just live in there. Like,
are they going to be only supported by Chef Workstation? That's a question actually.
At this point, I think so. I don't know but I don't know that.
So, because for example, right now, as we're talking, like the Chef Analyze is being shipped through Habitat, so you can actually just run hab package install like chef Analyze, and then that will drop the binary in any Habitat enabled environment. And then, as I said, I don't want to come and say like, well, this will be like modular things, but this is a compelling reason for us to say Chef Analyze can be like, like a different repo, different binary that it can be installed isolated. And then that's why we decide to put it into a different repo. But if it's coupled, right? Like for example, the main Chef wrapper, that one is useless without Workstation. So that's why it's like, okay, if you really want to use this chef wrapper thing or any other binary that depend on Workstation, oh, it's a component of chef Workstation. But workstation could be this is my suite of 10 components that are like really hard coded into the software definition of chef Workstation, plus 80 gems that you can go download if you want them, plus another 30 binaries that are modular, like you can just download them from wherever you want. So those, yeah, I think those are really good questions, and we should just write some document to like explain all those things.
Yep. Yeah. So yes, agreed. We're not going to figure that out right now, but that is a thing that probably as soon as we get our second chef dash whatever command, and so you're aware that the thing that started this conversation was this PR and Chef Cly that we closed. So theoretically, this could be a Golang chef dash test command that duplicates the delivery local functionality. That's what it's called, right, Tim? It's delivery local.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you ask me, like, this is another example of like, we want to spike on this feature. We really just transplant that functionality from Rust, which is written in Rust. We don't have to rewrite it, and just put it out into a repo that only provides that in a different repo, written Rust with all the pipelines and stuff, and just like pull it into Chef Workstation.
I was just figuring that if we wrote that, like, I would say that we would write, well, the first problem is we have to actually work with product to figure out, like, I know we do want a chef test command, like that's been brought up multiple times, but like, what is the end goal for that? Once we figure out what the end goal, and even if that end goal, you know, gets implemented 2 years from now, like, let's figure out how to get figure out how to get delivery local mode into that namespace at least, and then start telling people to stop using delivery local mode and to get them into chef test. And if we add more features to it, like if there ends up being like a chef.yaml or whatever config later, and that this does everything, that's fine. But like, we can forklift and go like the start of it, which would be backwards compatibility. And that lets us get rid of, like, I would love to get, we, as I counted them, realized we have 4 languages in the Workstation project right now. I would love to get rid of Rust, mostly just because, like, I don't see us. We're not going to rewrite the Go stuff in Rust. Like, we should get rid of that. In that functionality, the delivery local mode functionality is pretty minimal. Like, that could be written in Go pretty simply. Like, it reads a YAML file and executes some commands.
I don't disagree with that statement. Absolutely not. Still, I would like to chat more, like in another meeting or something, about like why is eliminating Rust or any other language, because we just did this work to enable us to choose pretty much the language that suits the behavior, or not the behavior, but the purpose of the thing we're doing. So I want to understand that. Let's get rid of languages.
We can chat about it. It's something I wanted to bring up with product about figuring out what the long-term vision for test is sooner rather than later.
Yeah, perfect. Those are really great questions. I'm glad we're having this conversation.
So one last.
I was like, you're getting distracted.
One last note before we move on from this card. So Tim, you wrote on your whiteboard you wanted to write down a design doc. Do you want me to file any issue right now, or is your?
No, I'll get an issue filed that is the design doc that says, I think we should do this. Okay. And then we can take that to product and be like, does this make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Dependabot on this.
Turn that off. Let me go fix the Dependabot stuff. Yeah. It is never going to be able to parse that file.
And then this one is new. We should evaluate, but it is Triage advancement. Sweet. Cool.
Dependabot's working pretty nice for Workstation app, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like for anything we're managing our dependencies in a normal way, it seems really great.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is it from Chef Cly. Let's check out the app. I don't think there's anything new in here. Yeah, these are both good. As a side note, I've been trying to go through the board view and like grab old open PRs like this one and then decide what we want to do about it. This one I'll probably either close or like open as a completely new PR because the code has changed so much underneath it. But I've just been sorting my old PRs in the board, and after reviews are done, going through and trying to grab some of those. So.
Yeah, I would like to clean that. Yes, what you said is great. Have you used the board to just like look at the triage things, or you're going like one by one as usual?
Yeah, I have not. I've not used the board to look for untriaged issues.
Okay.
I think that's a reasonable thing to do. I don't know that all of our repos have the. This is another thing to figure out is, so some of our labels have descriptions and some of them don't. Some of our repos automatically get untriaged, tagged, and some don't. I know the OSS repo has some docs about how that are set up, but I haven't looked through. And I think there's probably some kind of, hey, every time you open a new repo, like Chef Analyze, we need to make sure that the labels get added to that repo and it gets set up so the new PR or new issues automatically get untriaged added. So I think once we got that functionality in, I would want to use the board view to go look at untriaged issues.
Yeah, I agree with that statement too. Thank you.
Okay. Chef apply.
Which repo had the issue about the dependent bot? Was that the Workstation repo itself?
That was Chef Workstation now.
Is the issue?
Yeah, Chef-Cly.
Cly. All right. What is in there that is causing that problem?
Yeah, because this is just quote unquote just a gem.
Yeah, I think I know in other repos we need the instance eval stuff to like inject gem file modifications, but I don't think we do that in Chef Cly. So I think we can just take that out and then this will work.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so this is Chef Apply, and there are no new issues here. I wonder what that blue bar means. I wonder if that means there's updates to this PR since I last looked. Yes, there are. Okay. Okay, I don't think we need to change any labels on this. He has some good comments about priority and implementation. Okay, so I just now realized that there's a little blue bar over there. That means that there's been an update since I have last looked at this. That is very helpful. So chef apply,
Oh, that's cool.
chef, huh?
No, I say that's cool. I didn't notice that before.
Yeah, neither. And if I refresh, it goes away. That's convenient. Okay, well, there's nothing new to triage in Chef Apply. And check it out, Chef Workstation. And then look at Chef DK.
You also went through the Chef Analyze one?
I have not gone through Chef Analyze.
Okay, perfect. Sorry.
Excuse me. And I haven't looked at VS Code Chef, which is a new repo that was added in here.
Yeah, those repos. Somebody needs to go through the repos and check that all the tags are similar. I put a card on the board, so probably that will include not only Chef Analyze, but all the repos that we own, I guess.
Yeah, we should. Yes, everything that is in that
apply
list.
those. It's super easy.
Yeah,
I've not done that in the past because when I changed labels, some teams got upset. So, but there's an easy command for doing it. If there's a list, I'll just do it to ours.
You can pick the card from the board if you want. I'll show it to you, Tim. Send it your way. Thank you for doing that.
is the TLDR that Stove is now okay with us pulling it in? Or did we get that repo moved behind the scenes?
We got that moved to the chef org.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we have to publish double gems for foreseeable future. And there's also some work on that Logify. The source for that is deleted, but it's not gone. So we have to move that to Mixlab log, which I'm going to do as well for Chef API and for Stove. So there's some work here that became like a top priority. It wasn't here 3 days ago, as usual.
Yep. I mean, it looks like we could probably just merge this PR is kind of why I'm asking. Because this is all dependency updates.
Yeah, go for it. I mostly just wanted people to be aware of switching back to Stove and the game of all that.
Okay. That is one pull request. This can be closed now. Yes. I added a comment to this earlier, so we'll go see.
Yeah, that needs to be like a maintained thing.
Yep.
I'm also a little like, I feel like anytime we implement a linter and we ship it in Chef, we're telling people to start using it, and it needs to have auto correction if we're gonna do that. Because like sous chefs implemented this markdown linting and YAML linting, and neither of the tools have auto correcting. And I
Mm-hmm.
wasted like an hour on a repo, like fixing the indents, and in the end, I'm like, I've fixed nothing.
Yes.
This is literally zero value
Yep.
for something that like makes somebody like, and I'm all about like warm and fuzzies from like aligning text correctly, but I was like, this is zero value. So like, I want, if Jay takes this over and maintains it, like he needs to add some auto correction to it.
Okay. I can make a request in here about that, and then if they end up taking it over, move that over to
Yeah.
their.
More like, I mean, at the very least, though, somebody has to be actively maintaining it. We're not going to ship abandonware into Chef that we don't have access to. I had a whole bunch of windows open, and I just tried to click into your desktop, Tyler. I was like, why can't I? Oh, man, not again.
That is funny.
Okay. I can kind of start that conversation at least. Okay, those are those two PRs. Detect installation method, omnibus versus habitat. Okay.
Yeah, I did this one. So I merged the PR that enables Chef Workstation to be packaged through Habitat, but the only command that doesn't work is the Chef CLI, which
Mhm.
is the CLI only knows about omnibus installations. So this issue is about making awareness in the Chef CLI for Habitat installs through environment variables, and then just change the the embedded live bin and all this paths.
Okay. And is the Chef Cli look and like opt Chef Workstation, et cetera, for stuff? Is that where the
Yeah, exactly. It's hard coded to be omnibus specific, so it will be OPT. Yeah, Chef
Yep.
Workstation. Blah.
Okay. Yes, I can certainly see. Should we move this to the Chef Cli repo? I'm trying to think.
I mean, kind of like in like that's a good question. I don't know. I've tried to open all the things in Chef Workstation just to have like some um, order, but yeah, I can see a compelling reason to move it.
Because I would think the implementation would be in Chef Cli. Maybe the first check we do is we say, hey, does this habitat environment variable exist? And if so, use that environment variable for where to look up paths for my other binaries to execute. And if it doesn't, fall back to this kind of like default omnibus behavior.
Right. Right now, there's not much to do in Chef Workstation. Yes, everything should be done in Chef CLI.
Okay. Yeah, I'll move this to Chef Cli. I think it's fine. I think this is the point of triage is we can throw stuff into Chef Workstation very quickly and then have this meeting to transfer it.
I like that.
So get transferred. Add.
Cool beans.
The repo labels are all updating right now.
Thank you.
It's not going to apply to descriptions because that never became part of the official API. That's still a beta feature.
Oh, okay.
Which means it's not in AutoCAD. But I need to look at that. I had a branch somewhere that I was using that had like a hack to make the label stuff work.
And it's a GitHub API beta feature?
Yeah, so like every time they add one of those like beta features, which is a lot of stuff, it is not available officially in the API. Like that's really what they mean by beta, is that it's in the UI but not in the API.
Okay.
Unfortunately, things are sometimes beta for like a year. So.
Thanks, Gmail.
Yeah, it's totally Google's fault that like that became an acceptable practice.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you the environment variable that actually somebody should use since it's already in the workstation habitat package. I'll post it. All right, here it is. I'll send it to you in Slack. There it is. And if you open that, it's 2, I think, variables that I put in there. So we should look for Hub Workstation Pad and Hub Workstation embedded there, I think.
Okay. Cool. Okay, got that triaged.
Nice.
Okay, looking for any of these. Have we gotten updates? And let's see. Okay, we'll see if that person can try it with, the reporter can try it with Kitchen OpenStack 4.0. Update Windows name to include workstation/chef. That is true. Okay, that is the Chef Workstation. Check out Chef Analyze. These have labels. I know I need to go look at that PR. Let's see.
That one I'm working on it. So I just created manually that like adopted status for now, but yeah, we can just.
They are populating at this very moment. So if you
Yeah.
click,
Whoa.
more.
Cool.
It just got hit to your repo in the list there.
Let's maybe come back and do this at the end, or maybe even wait till next week if it's auto-populating those labels.
It'll be there in probably like 2 minutes.
Yeah, okay. I can check out VS Code, Chef.
Do that.
That's going to be missing labels too.
It doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, it doesn't have those labels yet.
Yeah, so this just came over from Stuart. I put it into the workstation org just because this seems like part of that overall development, like circular experience of happiness, I guess.
Yeah.
To fall under our team. And anything we want to do to move people onto the new patterns that we have, like this is a good place to do it. In terms of coding, like this is pretty tight with cook style and with like new chef and all that stuff.
Cool. I think it seems reasonable. I think even just the argument that like, hey, we are responsible for the workstation and development of the chef ecosystem, and linters and integrating with your IDE helps with that. So
Analyze is done, by the way. So
cool. Okay.
Label away.
Excellent.
I would also suggest that we think about those labels and whether they work correctly for us. We're not finding that they are correct in the chef infra team. They were kind of like a guess at a first round of labels, but yeah, if they're not the right ones, we should think about updating them to things that make sense for like this whole process, because you know every team's adopting this, right? So the labels should be consistent for what every team needs.
I think I've been able to find an aspect that fits for most repos that I've done. I think so bugs are interesting because I feel like the aspect on that is almost always correctness plus maybe something else it applies to.
Yeah, correctness is one of the ones I wonder if that even makes sense, because like if you feel like you can tag it for everything, then the aspect is probably not right.
Yes. So yeah, so I think maybe that would be my, like a lot of these are very specific. Packaging, I think we use a lot on Chef Workstation, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
We deal with a lot of packaging.
Maybe I'll suggest we get rid of correctness.
Yeah.
And just make that like, yeah, if we need
What
more.
was the aspect? Sorry.
Aspect was like, kind of like we used to have component in Chef. So it was like, what does this impact in this project, right? Is it packaging? Is it security? Is it performance, stability? Like the problem is like correctness is a catch-all.
What about features, whenever there's new features?
So there's also like type, which would be enhancement.
Yep.
There's a lot of overlap. And this is where I get like, we grabbed this from a few different sources for people that like were super into labels. And I think we kind of like used a few people's, and a lot of them are like kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to debate. Yeah, you're right. We should just come up with some good list because, oh, wow. Triage.
Yeah, this was all made like before we were moving to like every team is using somewhat the same model.
Okay.
So I think now that we have a more prescribed workflow, we should make the labels match up with that workflow probably. But that's not specific to this team. That's like a request for every team.
Yeah,
so
I think
I might just post that in Engine Outs and be like, hey, these work.
And my feedback is, I think I found some that overlap, and I find when I tag one of these, I end up tagging a bunch at most of the time too, and so that is a smell. So anyways, I can kind of Create cookbook-oriented aggregation report. Create cookbook-oriented infrastructure report. Okay, so these were the different, reports we had talked about, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, a good question is, I put the on triage because because I don't know what's the right workflow, meaning like whenever Tim, you or myself or anybody from the team creates an issue and knows how to triage, should we already triage it, or should we just put this status to track attention every week and go through them and talk about them? What is the best thing to do in those
I
cases?
would be okay if people were self-triaging. But it is still good to talk about things, right? Like, because if like you or Tyler create some stuff and you self-triage, then maybe I never realized that you did it.
That was my question. So
As long as we have some way of like in stand-up or something to discuss, like a lot of the concept of triage is the fact that like the issues don't come internally. They're customer issues, and then we do have to triage them. I think like anyone on this team is paid by Chef to triage.
yeah, I don't want to overload you, Tyler, and anybody else that will do trash. So I was just curious, what's the?
I'd be fine if you guys wanted to triage your own stuff.
I think there's some that are simple that are like bug fixes that if it can be labeled, I think it makes sense to just label them. I think anytime you have a question, like if you want to talk about it, I think leaving it untriaged is also fine then, right? And it's not, you're not putting more work. Like that is the point of this meeting, is for us to be able to talk about these issues and decide where they fall in, kind of what tags at this point. Hopefully when we get our board working more the way we want, we can do things like tag priority on it and stuff, and that should be in most cases probably is a conversation.
I'm not sure, like this is like another one of those things that we had like some rough ideas how we wanted to do it in the whole OSS processes group, but like we weren't entirely sure what the workflow of the design proposals was going to be, because like part of me thinks that those shouldn't be issues at all, that those should be pull requests. And like I really do like how Automate has like design proposals basically in a docs that lives forever, because like if Salim is working on this thing here, like I kind of want that tracked in the repo so we can talk about like why it was designed that way, because 3 years from now Salim's probably not going to be here, right? And we're going to be like, why did we build that? And GitHub issues are probably not the best place to track that stuff long term.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that after doing the triage, we like, first of all, shouldn't product be here in this kind of meetings?
No. Well, So for triaging, I don't think, because if triaging is about adding labels, which is kind of what I understand, and responding to, so adding labels and getting an understanding from our point of view about externally generated issues, I think is probably the most important thing. I think there is a meeting, so when talking prioritization, that's where I think product needs to really be involved. And so if we start talking prioritization during this meeting, yes, I would agree that product should be involved in this. But then it's like overlapping with backlog, what I think of as backlog grooming.
Got it. And that was my next question, because I've seen a lot of meetings that we're doing right now, right? Like putting some tags, but after tagging, I don't know when do we start prioritizing? So that was my question.
Yes, there is, an hour before this meeting starts, there's a link that gets dropped in our Slack every week that says backlog grooming that we don't do, that we should. But that needs to be a product involved meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like product and an engineering representative need to be able to do that every week and talk about things like priority. So.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Yeah.
You can continue.
Okay.
So this one we want to do it. So I guess we just put the labels.
I think this is UI. I try and separate UI typically as I guess, things that customers are going to see and user experience as workflows. And I don't know, there's so much overlap between both of those two as well.
There was a long heated description about what the difference was between those two.
I mean, every UI needs an UX, no?
That is why we have two labels.
Yeah.
Got it.
But specifically, this as a design doc is referencing, hey, this is the user interface I want to give someone for them to see what cookbook violations they have across their infrastructure. So yeah. I'm also thinking, Tim, I definitely hear what you're saying about having design docs live long-term in the repo, right? Not just as issues. I think my first thought about that was, well, what if we just put that same information in the issues, but then issues get closed, right?
Yeah.
It's not that they disappear, but
there was the desire to have sort of the RFC process that we used to have, but to work it more in a way where teams would use that, as opposed to like the RFC process was just for people that didn't work at Chef. We wanted everybody to use it. And I've been trying to use it. I mean, Salim's got one. That's great. Like we're using that. But like the idea was like you open the issue and that sparks a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think nothing sparks a conversation better than a PR.
Yeah.
Like issues get triaged and forgotten, and PR is like sit there and people want to merge them or not, right? So like I think it would almost work better if we were like, here's a PR, like please file a PR for this.
Yep.
But that's like a bigger, again, that's like another one of those. I think there's some circling back on our OSS process that has to happen now that we've done some of this for like 6 months. Maybe those are good things to bring up. We have a meeting on Friday, so we'll bring some of that stuff up.
I mean, maybe it's like design proposals get opened as draft PRs, and you edit the draft PR and comment on all that until you get the design proposal that you want, and then you move, like, as you move that to a PR, you take that kind of design doc and it goes into the docs folder in the repo somehow, or like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like we have people open them as an issue and then we discuss them and then we turn them into PR. I don't know, but like somewhere where they get captured. Yep. And they actually spark conversation, because right now they don't feel like they're sparking conversation.
Yeah. Okay, well, we are over time for this meeting, so I'll wrap it up with this one. And
can you wrap it up with a different one, which is coming from the community, actually? It's very interesting. It's the one that says CMDB functionality. I think we need to definitely talk about this one. It's a user that already start kind of like reading about things we're doing, and it's a feature request out of the box on Chef Analyze.
I mean, this is exactly what was also requested internally, so
yeah.
Yeah.
I think a response to this one will be super nice.
So we know everything about your systems. Why don't we show you how powerful everything we know is? Yeah, that'd be dope.
Oh, interesting.
The only thing is like, is it this the purpose of a CMDB? Like, because I don't think Chef Analyze is gonna have like that kind of functionality.
All right, I'm rolling out descriptions for the labels, which I hope will make it more obvious what they're for.
Okay.
They're just the descriptions that came out of the OSS project, so.
Sounds good.
Yes, I am working on that.
I know you are, but wanted to,
Yeah.
so you move it through the board.
Where is it? Oh, because I'm on the repo. Show all.
Maybe he got confused because of the wording I used to describe this repo as like analyze the chef inventory. But I'm starving. Jesus.
Is there any way in VS Code to have it type on every single line in a column?
Yes.
What do you do to make it do that?
What is it? Let me finish typing the sentence and I would go try and remember the magic Google expression. It's you hold like Option Shift or something and you can select multiple lines. And there's a way to do it where you like click on one line at the column where you want and then like press some combination of keys plus down and you'll like multi-select that same spot in the column down, right? And then you can hit backspace and it'll backspace all of them. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think I might have accidentally just enabled it. Select the whole thing, click above.
There's always a Control Z.
Shift Alt. Aha, there we go. Perfect.
Okay,